For Sunday, April 23rd, you've found the Georgia gang. Topping our agenda, a runoff for the Democrats' great national hope for Congress. We have a tale of two stadiums, one dazzling, one shaky. And in DeKalb County, Burl Ellis gets a huge payoff. Some of the stories up for grabs on the Georgia gang.
From the Fox 5 studios, the Georgia gang starts now.
And we're glad you could be with us on this beautiful Sunday. We have been enveloped by a congressional election. I can't describe it any other way. And as I've said before, for people who don't live in Georgia's 6th congressional district, they thought they did when all was said and done, when $14 million was spent on television advertising alone. It's remarkable. And Jeff, I think you said something interesting a week or so ago about this, that there were going to be false hopes because there is a runoff now. Nothing was decided, even though repeatedly we heard that Jon Ossoff, the 30-year-old Democrat, won this or won that, but he didn't win.
Well, you know, he won by plurality, and I think that confuses a lot of folks outside of Georgia who are unfamiliar with runoff elections, though the national press did a good job of explaining what this was all about. But if you were one of those early supporters thinking that you're out there to embarrass President Trump and put a Democrat in Tom Price's Republican district, you're a little surprised by the fact that he had to have 50 plus 1. And I think that, you know, with 95% of the money coming in from out of state, that was the presumption with a lot of folks, that if he won a plurality, he'd win the seat. And that doesn't happen here.
Nope. And elections for Democrats, that 48.1% that Jon Ossoff got, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, so
came
close. So close. But that's not what it only counts in horseshoes, right?
Right.
And in Georgia politics, the runoff is the way to go. And with it being a solidly Republican district since what,
1978?
Yeah,
that's when Newt Gingrich.
79.
It doesn't look like it's going to change. I mean, I haven't seen any reporting indicating there was any new voter registration going on. And
no, we're going to get to that because that's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
question. And Phil, on the Republican side, that was where the dogfight was. We like to describe this as two elections, a Democratic primary and a Republican primary. And on the Republican primary, Karen Handel, riding name recognition and familiarity of voters from her long years of service, won it. But, you know, really, it's still kind of shocking, even though Jeff's right, we should understand this, to see a Republican frontrunner with only 20%.
Well, not in what they call the jungle primary.
No,
it's not
still
surprising. It's not surprising because of a fractured vote. Let me go back to that 48% we were talking about a minute ago before I touch on the Republicans. What's funny is all this money, as we're talking about, was spent. Well, Hillary Clinton got 47% and didn't do a thing, as we know, in Georgia. So
that's true.
All that money just got him one more percentage point, which goes to your point, Alexis. It is a Republican-leaning district. But I think now you're looking at a unity ticket. You saw just in the last couple of days Governor Deal
even the governor
pledging allegiance. They had been political opponents, as we all know.
Right.
So that will help Karen Handel with her donors right there. The Deal people are going to be opening their wallets up. Every Republican of every stripe now, as we know, is getting behind her. The president will be coming down. The vice president will be coming. Yes.
Well, he's coming from the NRA,
so
and he may just tip his hat at her.
You're going to see again a lot of money.
Right. I was going to say, and the money is going to come in from nationally for both parties, I think.
Well, let me make a bench point on that.
Okay.
Jon Ossoff raised $8.4 million, and again, almost all of it nationally. And Karen Handel and the other three GOP contenders raised a total of $3.7 million. Well, that's going to flip now. If Jon Ossoff were to raise another $5 million, I think the Republicans will match that and then some.
Yes.
Because, again, they're united behind one candidate, Karen Handel.
Right.
Interesting race for a newcomer. Bob Gray ran a great campaign.
He
almost got there.
He
Dan
did.
Moody rode David Perdue's endorsement.
He didn't do well, Dan Moody, and I think
Considering the support that he had behind him,
I agree with you. I agree. And you know, we've talked about the ads the last couple of weeks. Some of those ads, in my opinion, were terrible. Judson Hill I thought had a great ad at the end explaining his record, but his early ads I don't think had him catch fire.
Right.
So, but we all know one thing here on the gang, and that is in special elections especially, turnout is the key. I'll give credit to the Democrats in Ossoff. They had a lot of volunteers here. They were getting people in cars and buses. I think both parties can learn from this lesson, but the Republicans...
Don't say volunteers.
Well, paid volunteers, quote unquote.
Well, no,
Quote,
many of them were. There were a lot of
Let me
volunteers.
finish my point. Let me
Sure.
finish my point. I think that both parties can learn from this election. The Republicans have to get out with those buses and with those cars and haul people to the polls. That's how you win special elections.
And this is in June, right? In the height of vacation season, and people are going to be out of town and out of the country. And so I think that you're
right. That's
it's
where you
going
do.
to be important.
You know,
both parties do absentee ballot drives. That's what you do.
You know, we saw on this with 55,000 early votes.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean much. If the parties respectively have their get out the vote efforts, they can get people to vote. They can vote early. I don't know the dates of early voting yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know,
Let's analyze one thing that we all know well too. But for the viewers, Fulton County has 45% of the total vote of this district, and then Cobb is coming at 32, and then 23 for DeKalb County, and so Fulton will be the battleground. You know, Trump carried Cobb very easily, the portion of the district. He narrowly carried Fulton and lost DeKalb. Right. So if you're looking at it that way, again, to your point, Alexis, it is stacked in favor of the Republicans.
Ossoff was the leader in DeKalb, and by some pretty surprising margins to me in some of the Brookhaven and Dunwoody precincts. You're right, Fulton will be the battle. For the Democrats, Cobb County was pretty fertile territory too, oddly, for John Ossoff. Now, I don't think that'll hold in a runoff.
No, it won't. That'll be the Republican in that state Senate race. To pivot a little bit, there was a state Senate race that isn't a runoff too in Cobb County. Kay Kirkpatrick is now going against Christine Tribush, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I hope you're right too.
But I think that the Republican will win. By the way, that is a May runoff. It's not a June runoff.
Right. Right, we're doing a state calendar for state elections and a federal judge imposed calendar.
I don't know why we can't have that tied to the June runoff. The legislature would have to do that.
Just again, let's slip off the main topic for a moment. Late last week, Democrats sued in federal court to say that registration should be reopened for this runoff election in June. I don't think the Democrats will rest until we have walk-in voting at any poll you choose.
I think that's
or perhaps even just on the internet anonymously.
Voting registration, of course.
It doesn't have to be
This
anonymous.
is the 21st century. Come on.
If you can file your taxes, as I've said many times on the internet, and you can, and pay them, you ought to be able to vote.
That's right.
If the system's that secure that we can file our taxes online, we ought to be able to vote online. I haven't heard anybody try to rebut that point.
Fulton County, I would be nervous
I wouldn't
about
say that.
I would be nervous.
Yeah, what about Fulton County? And that is disgraceful.
That was bad.
It is bad.
I think
all the more reason for us to begin to use technology to do this. I went to a runoff election out in the city of Stonecrest, and I know we'll probably talk about that, and made the point to the same poll workers. We need to. Why am I physically coming in here to cast a single ballot?
Right.
Well, no, at Stonecrest, you also had the specter of all kinds of voters showing up to vote for John Ossoff. And State Representative Doreen Carter had to go on Facebook and say, you don't live in the 6th District. You can't vote for John Ossoff.
But Jeff, technology is great, as we all know. But what happened in Fulton County, and it caused the returns to come way after midnight, a human being, a worker, misplaced a data card. It took them hours to find the right one.
That's what we
the wrong basket.
We got to get out. You were just talking to Siri a minute ago.
So what do we...
Right, so if you do put it all online, then that eliminates that human error.
So let's just recap
I think
real quickly.
Somebody has to program it.
Yes.
We're running out of time, so let me just recap. On June 20th, we'll have a runoff between Karen Handel, the Republican, who has served as Secretary of State, Chairman of the Fulton County Commission, has balanced budgets, is a proven factor. She will be opposed by a 30-year-old Democrat who doesn't live in the district.
Who worked for Hank Johnson and advised him on Guam.
And John Lewis.
Here it comes.
Okay.
So
I told you it was coming, didn't I?
So
didn't I tell you it was
it's
coming?
a choice between a congressman.
So what's your choice?
It's a choice between a congressman from the 6th District or a congressman direct from the offices of John Lewis and Hank Johnson, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer.
I told you that they were gonna color him black, but I didn't know it was gonna start on the Georgia gang.
I'm not coloring him black. I'm just. We got to get out.
We're coloring him left.
We got 10 weeks to
Okay.
discuss how far
right.
to the left he is and how he accumulated a fortune of $1.7 million at age 30. He's a good investor, that John Ossoff, by the way.
But let's also
And a yacht and a
think
plane.
about how he could stand up to some of the policies that we don't like from our current administration in Washington.
Well, I got the last word on you. Kind of got the last word. All right, when we come back, maybe some more politics, but more likely a serious subject. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium is delayed. That has implications. Stay with us.
Have a question or comment for the Georgia Gang? Visit their website at fox5atlanta.com.
All right, so the Falcon Stadium has now been delayed 3 times. I'm not gloating, not pointing any blame. I know it should have been built in Doraville, but it really does cause some problems, and I'm not sure they're being fully candid with us, Phil. Already, the fabulously popular soccer team, Atlanta United, is going to play the rest of their season pretty much at Georgia Tech. Of course, Georgia Tech has football of its own.
They'll have a couple of games in August in the Mercedes-Benz
and
Stadium.
the NFL has gone ahead and announced its schedule to kind of protect the Falcons.
Yeah.
If the butterfly roof doesn't open properly, I think that's the issue, is it not?
Well, that's the big
What they're
issue. I
saying.
tell you what, we've all seen pictures of that roof, and it kind of looks like a camera.
It is.
When I saw
designed as
that,
a
and I don't know if
cameraman,
you had
that's
the
right.
same impression
Yeah.
I
Cool as
did.
can be.
When I saw that, I said, "How? That is so complicated. The way
How
it
are they
opens
gonna
and
make it
closes,
work?
and now they can't have it open or close. This is a real."
Oh, no, wait a minute. I mean,
they're making it, but it is just so
Yeah.
complicated. It is taking extra time, and they've got to fit the pieces, and everything has to fit just so. And
But the real
Yeah.
disappointment has got to be for the soccer fans who were going to.
And boy, there are a lot more than I thought.
There are an awful lot of them. There are a lot of founding members. I have a dear friend who thought that she'd be going there for the first sporting event at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because that's what was planned for Atlanta United to play there, and instead it's going to be a NFL preseason game.
with Arizona.
That will be the first game.
And I think we should note for the record that the dome, the Georgia Dome, is not going to be raised. They're going to keep it intact. The football field's out of it, the field's out of it, but they're going to keep the stadium intact as an insurance policy, because we do have college football's national championship game coming to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and a whole bunch of major college football events, preseason, and then our traditional Chick-fil-A Bowl and all that. It's
They may just have to keep Mercedes-Benz Stadium roof closed and have it a dome.
now
Oh, my
on,
goodness,
on,
after
on a
spending
more
all that
positive
money.
note.
That's the worst case scenario.
On a more positive note, I want to play civic cheerleader.
All right.
I took the family not to a ball game at SunTrust Park last weekend, but to lunch and just hang out. Good food, fun, packed. That place is just wonderful. I don't want to say cool because that's too easy. It was just wonderful.
It's a mixed
So
use.
many
They call it
things
the
that-
Battery.
The Battery is so
Right.
much more interesting than the ballpark.
Well, it's a perfect fit because the ballpark is just nestled in a wonderful neighborhood that you're
It is,
describing.
yeah.
And I would recommend everybody to go by or have lunch or go to a game or something, because there's something for everybody, and it's very kid friendly.
It's
I
free
was there at a
parking.
game last
Yeah.
Wednesday, and the parking situation is good, and the traffic situation is getting better. And you can Uber out of there. A lot of people
Well, that
are
was the
using
one
Uber.
hitch they had on opening night.
But they
that
fixed
Uber
it.
couldn't
They
quite
have
handle
fixed
it.
it.
They have
and
fixed it.
everybody
Yeah.
kept taking
Now, I wish
everybody
they'd
else's
fix it on
Uber
the
car.
field. The Braves dropped 3 to the Nationals.
Yeah, let's not talk about
Yeah,
the
well,
Nationals.
The league did us
Yeah.
a favor by giving us San Diego in the opening series. But no, let me tell you, in Atlanta's great tradition of thinking big and having vision, think the '96 Olympics and Billy Payne and Andy Young, think William B. Hartsfield and an
Airport, Maynard Jackson and the new
in a
airport.
cornfield and Maynard Jackson. Think of all these things. This one in Cobb County, I know that still sounds foreign to a lot of people. It's a fabulous facility.
It is, and
And
politically,
they're going to have to put a statue out there. They got Bobby Cox.
Right.
They got Hank Aaron. How about Tim Lee?
Well, he was there. He was there
Oh, he was.
on opening day. The ousted former county commission chairman who had the vision, even though he didn't have the transparency. And Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed was there on
Really?
opening day.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Oh, he said he would be, absolutely.
Even though he lost the stadium.
Well, he's got the Mercedes-Benz and the roof to worry about. Oh, and one last thing. Again, vision. So we've got the old Turner Field now being repurposed
Right.
for Georgia State University and its fledgling football program. I see where the Corky Kell Classic, which is the harbinger of high school football in this state, which is really the only sport in this state, and they're going to play that at Georgia State. I believe it involves 16 high school teams from all over. That's cool.
It is very cool.
Because that's a
It is.
right-sized venue
Yes.
for high school football. I think it's going to have 28,000 seats.
Yeah.
It's very
It's gonna be
good.
great.
This
It
is
is.
Atlanta.
It is. And using these facilities in a way that's creative. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the Atlanta John Ossoff's from, you know, downtown. He'll like that.
Well, he'll like that. He was also a student at Paideia, too, I learned. So he's
Yes,
been
he
around.
was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
So he's been around.
All right, and Georgetown. Don't forget that, though. Sometimes,
That's right. He was a singer, as you
sometimes
were.
make me, yeah, voice accent and all that. All right, we've got some other news for you. When we come back, Phil's going to expostulate on college tuition, and Jeff is going to discuss Burl Ellis, and I'm going to talk about the folly of solar panels government subsidized. Stay with us.
Have a question or comment for the Georgia Gang? Visit their website at fox5atlanta.com.
I think you can tell we're all in a good mood. There's a reason for that. That election's over. Television became unwatchable. But you know, it's already started. You realize that Thursday, everybody went up again. Now it's just the two, Karen Handel and John Ossoff.
And how
I just
awful
wanted
they
to.
both are.
The Ossoff campaign, the Democrats, this is the Ossoff campaign. This is my show and tell that I've been doing the last few weeks. Got a lot of flyers here, but I like this one. It's called Vote Shaming. This is to my
It's not called vote
my
shaming, it
millennial
is vote
daughter, and it says
Claire's voting report card.
Claire's voting report card. And it's not good, is it? What
No,
does it say?
it says your
below
voting
average.
record is below average.
Your voting
below
record is
average.
below
Yeah.
average. John Ossoff sent this to my daughter, and she.
Oh,
The
that's,
good thing is he wasted the money because she doesn't live here anymore.
I was going to say, she's away in college, so therefore, that's why her vote record is below average.
All right, Phil. The Regents went a year without a tuition increase, and here they come, 2% for every state college and university. I'm not all that exercised about it, but you have real reservations.
Yeah, let's talk about that. We've got 28 colleges, as we know, in the university system of Georgia. I can understand a tuition increase for probably our top three because of expenses that they're incurring, and these are world-class, let's face it, world-class universities. For the others, though, I would have kept the freeze on. You know what's happening in education, just briefly, is the rise of the online class. Now, these are rigorous classes, but think about it. That's having expenses go down. We don't need the buildings that we once had in the 20th century. So, and there was a lot of debate internally with the Board of Regents on this. I wish they had maybe kept the freeze for most of the colleges.
Well, the other,
Some of the online classes are going down, and they've actually reduced the costs there while increasing the 2% cost. I mean, you know, I hear what you're saying, Phil, and I can't disagree with you, but it's still a bargain. When you look at Georgia's public colleges and universities compared to those in the Southeast generally, I think that we're somewhere right there in the middle. It's a 2%.
Well,
Yes,
you're right too, but we don't want to lose that bargain.
well, also with the increases that were going on every year when they were raising the tuition during the, I guess, the depths of and heights of the recession.
Well, the legislature had
cut back so
That's
much
right.
funding, and they have
That's
not
right.
restored that to this point. So that's where the money needs to come from, is the public coffers.
All right, in DeKalb County this week, the DeKalb Commission voted to award $755,000 to the former CEO of Burl Ellis, who deserves something for spending 8 months in jail in prison on kind of a flimsy charge. But I don't feel good about this, Jeff, because the law seems to say that a public official accused of a crime and acquitted in the course of his duties can be reimbursed. This was political. This wasn't chief executive's duties. What do you think?
It was obviously as a result of him being CEO of the county, and so I think that that's why the law applies clearly in this case. I think that an opinion from the state itself, from the state attorney general, would say the same thing. So these are not dollars that go to Borough Ellis. Let's make that clear. These are dollars that reimburse legal fees. So unpaid legal fees would go to a
And he has to reimburse
diverse
donors.
criminal defense team, as well as donations from citizens who donated to his legal defense team. They would have to be reimbursed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't feel right about it, but as I understand it, it is law. The vote was 5-2 on the commission, with two commissioners having some of the same reservations that I have.
Well, their reservations were about the donations being reimbursed and whether or not you could
Right,
actually
and then I have the
identify those
other.
folks. There's no, I didn't hear a concern voiced about whether or not this was consistent with state statute.
And he wasn't acquitted. That also muddies it. You know, the court remanded it for trial, and the prosecutor chose not to. It's difficult. In Gwinnett County, big blow to Soneva, the big solar panel manufacturer that lived on state, local, and federal subsidies. It went under. I'm not surprised. While the President Obama was putting all that money into solar energy, the nation, as is its way, doubled oil production. So that wasn't really a good idea looking back.
It made tremendous increases in solar energy as well.
But it's only a small part of the whole portfolio. You have to have a diversified portfolio.
I understand that, but that has been successful in other areas.
And finally, I'm surprised to hear that Kasim Reed was at the Braves game, because he'd been real busy attacking Dale Russell on the I-Team here at Channel 5, Fox 5. He sent out what looked to be a 2-page single-space screed against Dale. And
he accused Dale of getting outside money, which I
he
didn't
wanted
see
to
any
produce his tax
documentation.
returns.
I didn't see any. I think the mayor went a little too far on that one.
You know, judging for what we're paid, Dale wouldn't have a lot to show. I don't know, but that's a joke. But it's just funny that when Kasim Reed got mad at us one time, he sent us a very nice letter. I enjoyed it. Even mad at you, as I recall.
Yep, but
Boy,
I never got a
after
2-page
Dale.
letter, but I think he's got to roll with it better.
Wow.
It was one little lawsuit that Dale was trying to ask him about. I don't know. Thin skins, what the heck. Did the Braves win or lose when he went out there?
When they went
Opening
out.
night, they
When
won.
he went to the game?
Yeah, they beat
Oh,
San
they won?
Diego
That was
the whole
opening day.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll give him that. All right. When we come back, winners and losers.
Time now for the week's winners and losers.
And I'm going to real quickly slip in that the city of Decatur purchased the Decatur Methodist Children's Home. All the acreage, 77 acres, is a huge thing for the city of Decatur. Sadness for me, because that was a wonderful facility that did incredible work, and I still think there's a need for a home for troubled children and dispossessed children and so forth. Phil, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to make Fulton County DA Paul Howard my loser. And why is that? I don't understand why he and his staff didn't oppose the bond for this alleged I-85 arsonist. I mean, this guy's an antisocial guy, and you're not supposed to be releasing folks like that into the community. I think the duty of a prosecutor is to keep him in jail for a
They put him in
while.
drug treatment, didn't they?
He was not
Well,
released
let me
into
go
the
down the
community.
list.
He was
You can
released
argue
for
with me
drug
next
treatment.
week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got former Congressman Dawson Mathis as my winner. He represented South Georgia for years. He was a conservative Democrat, and we lost him on April 17th. He died. The Fulton Elections Board, I don't have to say much more except loser, and they need reform. And
Gotta be
then
fixed.
Bill O'Reilly, the king of cable TV, a winner and a loser, lost his job this week, but he did revolutionize cable TV.
And he's going to get $25 million to go away.
A great payout.
Well, and as his first TV boss, I hired him. He was a high school teacher. I hired him back in
He
1976.
was a high school teacher?
Yes, he
Oh
had a
my
Catholic
gosh.
high school in Fort Lauderdale, and a good one. And I'm sad for him, but I also think Bill
He did it
tend
to himself.
occasionally to slide over to the bully, but that's
Slide
that's
over to the
time
what?
To being
being
a
a
bully?
bully.
But
Oh, to
what
being a bully.
didn't he do this to himself, I would think, huh?
Okay, all right, Alexis, what do you have?
All right, I'm going to congratulate Bill Edwards, who was elected in the runoff as the new mayor of the new city of South Fulton. Congratulations to him, and there were others in the runoff. And also the superstar youngster, Mary Pat Hector. She lost by 20 points on her runoff seat on
20,
Stone.
20 votes.
20 votes, what did I
Yeah,
say?
23 something, yeah.
Yeah. She almost made it, but she is getting her started in her career. She's a junior at Spelman College at Stonecrest. And I think, what else do I want to say? Oh, the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau celebrated its 103rd anniversary with its third best year in a row, and the first time, or I guess, getting over 70% occupancy.
All right. Jeffrey, what do you have?
Years in a
Well,
row.
George Turner, who beat Mary Pat Hector, is
Yes.
my winner.
sorry,
Diana
I
Doma
should've
also
called his
won up
name.
there, and now we have a fully formed,
Stonecrest City Council.
yes,
Yes.
and mayor, and of course Bill Edwards. We've known for a lot of years, and the same as true of South Fulton. So we've got
Will
two
City
new
of
cities
South
in
Fulton
the
give him a
region.
car
A
like
lot
he
of-
got from Fulton County?
Yeah.
Exactly right. And I guess the winners also are the victims of Bill O'Reilly, all those women who don't have to look at him on TV anymore.
Nothing
Yes.
proven.
Maybe they're winners.
Nothing proven.
Nothing proven?
No. All right. The Hawks are still
I
in the
believe it.
playoffs, but it looks bleak. I want to congratulate the Shooter Hensley Awards on Georgia Public Broadcasting. They didn't televise basketball this year, but they sure deserve praise for the Hensley Awards for the state's outstanding performers in music and comedy. It was just a great broadcast.